Mr. Ben Young, thank you very much for coming to Busan International Film Festival.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Okay, I understand that you arrived last night.
Yes, I got here at 9:30 in the evening after a 20 hours in transit from Perth, Western Australia, where I'm from.
Right,
So I was pretty tired when I arrived, but it's a beautiful city and yeah, really lovely to be here with the film.
Okay, good. So tell us about yourself for the viewers.
So I'm the writer and director of Hounds of Love, which I'm lucky enough to have playing in the Busan Film Festival this year. And I got into the film industry when I was 12 years old as an actor. And
Right.
I worked as an actor right up until my early years as an adult, but then became really frustrated with the lack, with how difficult it was to get roles.
Right.
So I became increasingly interested in screenwriting with the
Right.
idea that I'd write myself the perfect role. And then fell in love with that process and moved into directing from there. So yeah, I'm a West Australian writer-director.
Okay, good. So I believe that Hounds of Love is your first feature, is that correct?
Yes, Hounds of Love is my first feature film. I've got a background in music videos, television commercials,
Right.
and believe it or not, children's television.
So I personally enjoyed that film very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about your film, The Hounds of Love.
So Hounds of Love is a very confronting thriller which deals with issues of control and codependency within domestic relationships.
Right.
So the film essentially revolves around a couple who abduct young women and murder them and do other terrible things to them. And so the film is really examining the psychological relationship between the three people involved, the victim and the couple who abduct her. And it's specifically examining the female abductor.
Right.
And I'm trying to give an insight into her psychology as to what could make a woman get to the point where she'd be prepared to kill somebody to satisfy her partner.
Right. It is based on true story, is that correct? That
so-
happened in 80s?
Well, so I studied 9 true cases.
Right.
So there was one in Perth like that, but there's another 8 or 9 that I read about that happened all over the world. And so the film itself is not actually based on true stories, but the psychology of the characters
Right.
is very much based on a lot of true crime cases that I studied. Because in every single one of these cases, the scenario was the same. It's about a very vulnerable woman
Right.
who meets a man who sweeps her off her feet, makes her absolutely fall in love with him, with him, and become absolutely dependent on him. And then he breaks her down and builds her up again to the point where she's prepared to do anything to keep him.
Okay. And one another thing, I was very impressed was the actress Emma Booth.
Thank you.
Yeah, she was really great. I mean, she was really crazy in that film.
Yes, she was.
Yeah. So, how was it working with her? Or what was it like?
Well, that's an interesting story. I'm glad you brought her up because I met Emma 15 years ago on set when I was acting.
15 years ago?
15 years ago
Oh, okay.
when I was on set acting opposite her. And
okay.
we've stayed friends for such a long time.
Right.
And so knowing that I was going to make my first feature film, I wanted to work with people who I knew and who I was comfortable with. So
Right.
I actually wrote the role for Emma.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so working with her was a great experience because she's like a sister to me.
Okay.
I know her so well. So yeah.
I bet she's very well known in Australia.
In Australia, she's in Australia. All three of those actors are really
Okay,
well known.
okay.
And Emma, yeah, she's very well known in Australia. She was an international supermodel before she was an actor.
Oh, is that
So
right?
yeah,
Oh,
which you wouldn't believe looking at her in the film.
I
because,
know, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we put
just-
fake teeth in, and
Right,
we put
right.
lots of makeup on, and changed her hair, and got her to put on some weight. But if you Google Emma Booth, you'll be amazed at what she looks like in real life.
Right, actually, I already did.
Ah!
So, yeah, I saw that those like really glamorous pictures of her. So
It was actually funny when we were at another festival. Someone came up to Emma and said, "Oh, I saw you walking with the Hounds of Love people. So you were obviously involved in the film. Can you please tell me where they found such an ugly woman to to play that role?" Not knowing that they were talking to Emma because they just because she looked so different. And Emma thought that was very funny.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Well, the film deals with very serious incidents, like you said, it actually happened. But when did you start thinking about making the film based on these incidents? What interested you?
That's a really good question. My mum writes crime novels, so she writes books, and I'm constantly looking for material, and so she gives me all the true crime books that she reads as research. And I read a book about women who commit murder. And it was really interesting to me because it gets into the psychology of why women kill, and it's so different to why men kill. And I was thinking about that, and that's not something that I've really seen explored on film very often, the psychology of a female serial killer.
Right.
It was done in Monster, but it certainly has never been done in Australia before.
Right.
And so that's what really drew me to it. And it was only about 2.5 years ago that I started writing the script, and so it was a very quick process from there until now.
So how long did it take to get your film script done? It's almost like 2.5 years?
Even quicker. So the film script, I wrote a first draft, and I got really lucky, and the first draft got financed.
Right.
So 4 months after
Okay.
writing it, and then we got a little bit more development money, and I developed the script for about another year, and then filmed it in February of this year, 2016, and finished it just a couple of months ago. So it was a very quick turnaround,
Oh, okay.
which I hope you can't tell by looking at the film.
Oh, okay. So I gotta ask you about the title. It's a very interesting title. How did you come up with Hounds of Love?
Yeah,
and what does it exactly mean?
That's a really good question. So I really take a lot of influence from music. As you can probably tell, you've seen the film. I use a lot of big songs in there, and music is such an integral part of the film
Oh,
and
that's
setting up the world.
inspired by music.
Yeah, and so I was listening to a lot of music from the era, so 80s music, particularly 80s music with female vocalists, because my film has got women at its heart. And I heard the Kate Bush song, Hounds of Love,
Okay.
and it really spoke to me and emotionally evoked the kind of feeling in me that I wanted to invoke in an audience. And there's something predatory about hounds, and I thought that just fit the characters so well. They are hounds of love, they're predators for love.
Okay.
So I just thought, well, I'm absolutely going to borrow the title from the song because it's such a nod to the time period, and I think that it's thematically appropriate to the film. Of course, we tried to get Kate Bush's song, Hounds of Love, but it was just outside of our budget.
I just out of curiosity, was there any other titles that you before you came up with the Hounds of Love?
Yeah, I think the very first draft, I remember, the very first draft was called Flame Tree.
Okay.
That's a terrible title.
Well, not bad.
Yeah, it was about a girl. In the first draft, the main character, Vicky, spent a lot of time lying on a trampoline looking up. In Australia, we have these trees that have these flowers that look like fire that comes off them. And so she used to lie on the trampoline and just look up through the flame tree and fantasize about a better life. And so that's where Flame Tree came from. But all of that fell away. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that the Korean title of that film is Slave of Love.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah.
I came up with that.
Oh, that's great. Oh, you came up with that.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I'm
congratulations.
Well,
Thank
but
you.
I'm glad you liked it.
I'm very happy with
Okay,
that.
good. I have
Yeah.
to make a confession to you before someone else would tell you.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit worried that.
Oh,
you
I
might
really
not
like it. I think that that's a fantastic translation. I'm very happy with that. I wish I'd thought of that in English.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a really good time in Busan.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a wonderful time so far.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.